Usually helps come off mute before you try to get started. All right, everybody. A very unhappy Wednesday to all of you. And this is the Unhappy Gilmore Show powered by Green Legion Radio. We are here live from my home. It is blistering hot again outside. Not really complaining too much as my air conditioner is fixed, but be that as it may, trying to do anything outside once it gets to about 4 p.m. right now. Hard pass. Unless you're in a pool, no thanks. So we did our swimming a little earlier, and now everybody's kind of inside. It is nasty out there. Who do we got in here already? Fito, what's up, my brother? Bryant, Russ, Mud Dogs. That's right. I'm wearing the Bobby Boucher jersey tonight. One of my favorite movies. I know Quimby likes to quote that. He's got all kinds of sound bites on his thing there that he's always playing. It's the one where they ever catch that gorilla that escaped from the zoo and punched you in the eye. So, pretty uneventful week. The NBA Finals. In my post I put we talk about the NBA Finals, maybe a little baseball. The DESHAUN Watson Douche-O-METer. I might get something put up back here that kind of just shows, the ever-growing number of ladies who are coming out and calling out DESHAUN for being a pervert. But we'll see. How the hell are all of you? This is the show right before Father's Day, so we are going to spend probably the back half of the time, just talking about Father's Day. What I like to do, what it reminds me of as a kid. And as always, you guys in the room, you're always awesome. So chime in, Keaton. Let's talk tic-tac-toe. Yeah, I get it, bud. Baseball's boring. If you listen to the video, those two opposing pitchers were teammates. So they were doing that to kind of, have a little side thing with each other. I thought it was actually kind of fun. But again, I know some of you don't like baseball. So NBA Finals. I think a couple of weeks ago we talked about this, and Luis Dominguez and I don't see him in here yet, but hopefully he'll join in when he can. Luis and I, we both said Warriors in 6 or 7, right? It looks like that's going to be the case. I really, it wouldn't shock me if Boston won at home tomorrow night, but to think that they would then go back to Golden State and win a game 7 on the road, I just don't see it. So I think I think the Warriors are going to win the title here. So, they're going to. Boston faces elimination again tomorrow night. They've faced elimination 3 times already in this postseason. Twice against the Bucks, and once against the Heat. I try to listen to as much sports talk as I can. It's usually just on my drive in the morning and on my drive home in the afternoon, and then if I take lunch, and just kind of sit in my car, but try not to do that as much, gas prices being what they are. And it's not like I'd be sitting there, just sitting there. I'd have the car running because it's so damn hot out. But what I have heard over the last couple of days since the Golden State victory the other night to go up 3-2 is this Jason Tatum in elimination games, as if he puts on some cape and becomes a different human. And the sexy stat is that he averages 31. He's been averaging 31 points a game in elimination games, this postseason. It's a little skewed. So he's averaging like 23 points per game overall in the postseason, 31 in elimination games, but he had the one big game against the Bucks. I think it was game 6. I'm pretty sure it was game 6 against the Bucks. Other than that, he's been right around his normal average. So you have the one game that's bumped that you're talking about small sample size. It's 3 games. I get it. It's 3 elimination games, but it's still just 3 games. So if 2 of them are at your normal average and 1 is double that, well, it's going to make it look like you're freaking, that you're scoring 31 a game. Let me get over here. Meisinger on Facebook. What the fuck are you wearing? That doesn't look green to me. It's a Mud Dogs jersey, you dick. It's the Water Boy. I got the hat to go along with it. So shut up. It's enough out of you. But back to the finals, right? Again, and I'm not saying maybe he will come out in game 6 and score 40 points and be this, this elimination game superhero. But throwing that stat around like I've heard it tossed around as if it's just like gospel. It's like it's just expected for him to come out and score 30 plus tomorrow night. I don't see it. I don't see where it's an automatic. It happened one time, once. And you can go back to previous elimination games that he's been in, and he's usually right in and around, that 23, 24, 25 point mark. Still a great player, 23, 24, 25 points, 8, 9 rebounds, 5, 6 assists. He's still a great player. I just don't understand all of this hype, all this expectation that he is just going to come out and be the savior. He's going to, all of a sudden, he's going to be Larry fucking Bird. I don't think so, man. Maybe he will. Even if he does, I don't think he's not going to do it in Golden State and win them a championship in Golden State. If this thing goes back to California, I don't see Boston winning that game. The only way Boston gets through this is they're not going to be able to just ride Jason Tatum. It's going to have to be, and I said this from the start, this was another thing we talked about. Jaylen Brown, to me, has been the X factor in every single Boston victory. So they won 2 games, but he has been the difference, right? Tatum's been doing his thing. It's when Jaylen Brown has that game, that's where they can turn the corner on him. So in order for Boston to do that, I still feel like Jaylen Brown has to be that difference maker. I still feel like Jaylen Brown ends up being the MVP of the finals if Boston does somehow go on and win these next 2 games. Let me get back over here. Fito, wear your Whiskey Hill jersey one day. I will do that. I will definitely do that, brother. Absolutely. Russ, untie Sam. She's not in, bud. She's not even in the background. She's I don't know what she's doing. I think she needs a break here and there too. She does the baseball. She's baseball brunch on Sunday. She's got Right on Cue on Tuesday, Green Legion Radio on Thursday. That can get hectic along with whatever other responsibilities she has. So, if she's got to sit one out, this would be the one for her to sit out, I would think. Russ. Yeah, I wouldn't try to either, but I'm not going to highlight that comment here, but I'm with you. I wouldn't try to do it. I think she'd probably break a beer bottle over my head. So, but that's my stance on the Celtics, guys. I don't think, y'all chime in. I don't know if anybody's been keeping track of the series. I think it's been fun. It's been the competitive series that I talked about a couple of weeks ago and that a few of you agreed with. I thought they were much, much more closely matched than anyone was giving them credit for. I never saw this as a Golden State sweep or gentleman sweep in 5 games. My friend Dave, I don't know if he's watching. He the day after that show 2 weeks ago, he texted me. He said, "I don't mean to tell a man his business, but Warriors in 5." So when it got to 2-2, or 2-1, I text him and I said, "How's it?" He goes, "Yeah, that didn't age well." But yeah, it's been. I mean, the only thing I don't like is that how late the games start. Like I might sound like an old man here, but look, I'm up at like 5:30 in the morning, sometimes earlier to get to work. Excuse me. So when you have a tip off at 9 o'clock at night, dude, I'm like already in bed. Like I've had enough. Russ, how about this Deuce? Yeah, we're gonna get to that guy in a couple of minutes, but I've got his name written down. I got an article pulled up on my phone. I'm gonna read to you. I found that absolutely hysterical. Just wanted to hit a couple more bullets about the finals themselves, and then I'm gonna move over to this knuckle fuck that the Clay Thompson wannabe. Um, Speaking of Thompson, my oldest child, my son, my 15-year-old son, Grady, he has gotten very, very, very much into the NBA, which I struggle with because I am not the biggest NBA fan, right? So I try, um, but like I don't have a ton of respect for a lot of today's players with the flopping and the bullshit and the bitch. And then there's his whole legion of people that worship him and think he's the greatest. I call them all LeBron sexuals. So you guys go ahead and share the wealth on that one. There's a whole legion of LeBron sexuals that think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. To me, he couldn't hold Michael Jordan's jockstrap. So whatever. But be that as it may, my son will talk basketball with me, and I told him going into Game 5 that I expected Golden State to win. I expected Steph to have a good game, his normal 25 to 30 points, which did not happen. But then I also said I also felt that Klay Thompson would kind of regain some form being in front of the home crowd in Game 5, and that did happen. He put up 21 points. He had a much better shooting night than he's had in the previous games of this series. Steph, on the other hand, was offensively, shooting wise, was atrocious. He was awful. And to put it in perspective, he hit 0 3-pointers. He was 0 for 9 from downtown, and that is the first time since November 8th of 2018 that he did not hit a 3-point shot. That's a span of 132 playoff games and 233 games overall. That's a long time. He still contributed. He had 8 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. So he's not a great defender. We all know that. But he's a willing defender. He will go out and give it an effort. Some of these guys, they just kind of mail it in on the defensive side of the ball. If you ever watched Carmelo Anthony, he was always awful there. And guys like Steph, your prolific scorers, your superstar players, when you looked at it, and you looked at a Michael Jordan or Reggie Miller or LeBron James, as much as I can't stand him, he is who he is. They've all had crappy games, whether it be in the playoffs or whatever. Go take a look at what they did the game after that. And they usually rebound, sometimes in a huge way. And I fully expect that same thing out of Steph tomorrow night in Boston. So I think they'll get what they need out of Steph. If this was the turning point for Clay and he can get his 20 to 25, what I didn't see coming was Wiggins having that game with 20. He had 26 points and 13 rebounds. And this is a guy who, he was a number 1 overall pick back in 2014. He's made some all-star games. He was rookie of the year. But as far as number 1 overall picks go, this is not a guy who he's underachieved as a number 1 pick. But he blew up the other night. And if they're going to get that kind of crap from a guy like him, and then Clay does his, and when Steph rebounds back to form, I mean, that's going to be too much for Boston. Boston's a great defensive team, but that will be far too much for them. Let me get back over here. Keenan, I go to sleep right after Jimmy Kimmel's. You watch Kimmel's pregame? I wouldn't watch Jimmy Kimmel if someone paid me to. I can't stand him. But I get it. Pregame and I'm out. Like I think the game tips off. I'm already in bed. Sleep timer's set. I don't make it more than 5 to 10 minutes in, and I'm out. Russ, what do we got here? This is LeBron. I give LeBron this. He did open a school and give scholarship to the other athletes. No, but yeah, I get it. I understand. I'm not trying to say he hasn't done some good things off the court, right? I'm not going to say that. I don't need to hear him all the time. That's my biggest trouble with him. Is it's all the time. Every time there's some major social issue or whatever, we all have to hear about what he thinks. Even stuff that's not that big of a deal, he has to chime in. I don't care to hear from him all the time. No, I am not telling anyone to shut up and dribble because I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. Everyone has the right to obviously speak their mind. Look, I sit here and talk to you guys for an hour every week. I'm nowhere near on the platform of a guy like him. So I'm certainly in no way telling anyone to shut up and dribble. But like, dude, let it breathe a little bit. You know, we don't need the reaction. It's always some overreaction with him too. Like he goes too far. It's too much with him. I honestly think he behaves that way. He knows he's never going to one-up Jordan on the court. That's never going to happen. But Jordan didn't have social media and all of these other platforms and stuff to talk. I'm not sure he would have anyways, but Jordan was never that guy. So I think what you have with LeBron is him trying to one-up Jordan in the only arena that he really can. And that's this. So, unfortunately, I think we're stuck with his mouth. And I do not expect that to change when he retires. Unfortunately, I think it'll get worse because then, the spotlight won't be on him all the time because he's not playing anymore. So, a guy like him, he's an attention whore. I don't see him like just riding off into the sunset and enjoying his billions of dollars now. He is a billionaire, which, good for him. But, what are your predictions for the Bourbon Bowl? Here we go. Wilt would bust all those asses you just named. Wilt is the GOAT. I'm not going to argue with it, man. It's before my time, and so I respect your stance. For me personally, in my lifetime, there was no greater player than Michael Jordan. And you can hate him all you want. That's fine for what he did to your team or my team or whoever else's team or whatever. But the bottom line is what separated Jordan and what continues to separate Jordan from LeBron James, from who's the Luka Doncic, guys like that, winning. The only thing more important than winning was breathing to a guy like Michael Jordan. Okay. And I don't believe, and I'm sorry to say this, Keenan, but I don't believe Wilt felt that way either. I think Wilt was an incredible athlete and would have been successful in whatever sport he decided to go into. But I do not believe he was as driven as Michael Jordan. That's just my opinion. Again, he's Wilt before my time. Just my opinion from things I've watched and seen and interviews and whatnot. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Jordan's competitive nature was on an entirely different level. If any of you have watched the Last Dance, that mini series thing that Netflix did or whoever the hell did, I think it was ESPN did it during the quarantine time in 2020. I mean, that tells you all you need to know. If you've not watched that and you are a sports fan, I highly encourage you to go to Netflix and watch it. It is on there. You can stream it. You can binge watch it. It is worth it. I've watched it 3 times. He it was a different level with Michael Jordan. But I do respect the Wilt Chamberlain thing. A lot of people think Kareem's the best. Your younger generation thinks LeBron's the best. I don't think LeBron's the best. I don't. I think if you put him in Jordan's era, he would have a hard time. He's got a big enough body, and he's certainly strong enough, but I just don't think he's mentally strong enough to handle the things that that a Jordan had to handle, that Zeke had to handle, Bird and Magic. I don't think LeBron's cut from that cloth. Just my opinion on him. Most of my buddies feel the same way. But again, I'm not, in my teens or 20s anymore. I'm in my 40s now. So, I can, Keenan, I understand you're probably older than I am, but there's a lot of things about sports, especially nowadays, where I find myself being very much that, get off my lawn type of person. And I'm not going to change that. I can respect somebody's stance or opinion as long as they're able to have a respectful, volley back and forth of exchange of opinions. Problem you have nowadays with these kids that think that don't agree with you. Okay, boomer. First of all, I'm not a fucking boomer. Okay, I'm not. I'm Generation X. Learn your decades before you start calling people boomer. You stupid little asses. But anyways, the problem with a lot of younger generation is they don't understand that just because someone doesn't agree with them, they're not being attacked. Okay. If some kid 22 years old says LeBron James is the best, and I, politely tell him I beg to differ, Michael Jordan's the best. A lot of those 22-year-old kids are going to completely lose their mind. And I think this is another problem. We talked social media on here about a month ago now, and its impact on sports. But I think social media also plays a role in this. Oh, look who decided to join the party for the first time here. David Connor, you don't do anything politely. That's a crock of shit. What's up, brother? How you doing? But the social media aspect. So, and this happens with politics too. What you have a lot of people who, they have their opinions and whatnot. And David and I are, we're a good example. We talk sports every time we're on the phone. It's probably the conversations go on for a while. It's because we both have a lot to say. And we'll bounce off each other with different stuff. But when you go and just look at a social media conversation sometimes, whether it's Jordan versus LeBron or, Trump versus Biden or whatever the hell you want to look at, most people, at least younger folks, have stunted their kind of development by only talking to those who see things the same way that they do. And what I mean by that is if they come out and say, I think LeBron James is the best basketball player ever, the only people that they talk to are people who also stand there and say, LeBron James is the best basketball player ever. The minute someone like you or me jump in and say, no, it's Michael Jordan, well, they don't know how to handle it because they're just not, they've not put themselves in a situation to be, not so much, not even, you don't even have to argue, just a difference of opinion, and they'll lose their shit altogether. So, and my son, I try to coax him away from that sort of thing, but ultimately he's going to have to learn on his own. He can be a little bit of a pain in the ass with it. I think I broke him of the LeBron thing though. I think I got him off of that. Try to show him videos of LeBron flopping and all of that stuff. So, but Keenan thinks Wilt is the best. Am I going to sit here and scream and yell about it? No, that's Keenan's opinion. And I respect it. Just because I don't agree with it doesn't make it wrong. Um, you know, David and I, just a couple of weeks ago, he asked me, I think the question was, who was the most exciting baseball player that I've seen? And I told him Ken Griffey Jr. Because for me, I not just at the plate, but in the field too. Well, his is Ricky Henderson. Ricky Henderson would also be right there for me too. I give Griffey the nod because Griffey was more dynamic in the outfield. That's all. Um, I don't think there's really a wrong answer there. But again, that's someone in my age group where we can have that discussion and nobody wants to fly off the handle and start, threatening and calling each other stupid and whatnot. It's just a difference of opinion. And it's shocking to me how many folks, especially the younger generations, cannot have a difference of opinion without it turning ugly. And I mean ugly in a heartbeat. Now, I'm not innocent. I'm not going to sit here and paint the picture like I'm innocent. I will at times when I'm bored, I will go into these, chat rooms or different pages or whatnot, or some post about LeBron, and I will purposely troll some of these folks just to get a rise out of them, and watch them lose their little minds over it. It's kind of sad, but I'm married and I'm a father of 3, so I don't really get out much anymore. I get out once a year for a Green Legion trip, and then once a summer for a baseball trip with my boys, hopefully. We're going to talk about that when we get to the Father's Day stuff here in a few minutes. But we kind of went down a rabbit hole with that. Usually happens once a week. The room will usually guide me in a direction. You guys are always fantastic, though. So, along with the NBA Finals, we have this knucklehead, Dawson Gurley. So this guy cuts his hair and does his facial hair in such a way that it makes him resemble Klay Thompson, who is, obviously, he's the other half of the Splash Brothers there with Golden State. So this guy falsely impersonates Klay Thompson, and waltzed right into the Chase Center to the point where he got all the way out onto the court and was taking warm-up shots with the team before it was caught and recognized. Hey, that's not Klay Thompson. Get him the hell out of here. And so they grabbed him. They banned him from the arena for life. Okay, so this guy's obviously he's obviously a Golden State fan, but well, I mean, I think he is. He's apparently a YouTuber. I'm going to look him up maybe later on tonight and just see what the hell his deal is. I'd imagine he got a few more followers after his actions here, but banned from the arena for life, and I think he got like a $10,000 fine. Guys, you got to look this up. It's hysterical. Video posted by Gurley on Tuesday night shows him strolling through security in a blue Warriors hoodie and full white Warriors jersey and shorts. He appears incredulous, saying, "We just walked right through security into the stadium." Gurley then makes it to the floor and takes several jumpers before a security guard realizes he's obviously not Klay Thompson. Several media members were fooled, despite Gurley resembling a rudimentary AI rendering of Thompson. This guy's apparently he's like fooled fans into giving him autographs and stuff too. So I mean, it's pretty funny. What do you got here, Dave? The article I read said he didn't impersonate Klay. He just never said he wasn't Klay. Yeah, and that's it. He didn't come out and say he was Klay Thompson. He just, if you look at the pictures, he's got his hair cut and his facial hair trimmed to look like Klay. And so he just decided to try to waltz on out there. And I agree with your next comment, bud. Sounded more to me like really bad security. Totally agreed. That should never happen. I mean, he does resemble Clay, but Clay's also 6'5". I don't know how big this guy is. I've not looked enough like into him. We're gonna check out his YouTube channel though and just see what the hell he's all about. What a knucklehead. But I guess he's like in his 20s, 29 or whatever the hell he is. 25 something. So, I mean, if he's a Warriors fan, you just got banned from your team's home arena for life. So, dude, you're in your mid to late 20s. Call it 50 years. You can't go to see your team play. I mean, was it worth it? I guess time will tell. He's got his 15 minutes of fame. Maybe it jumps his YouTube channel up and he's able to profit from that and it ends up being worth it monetarily. But Lord, man, what an idiot. And I agree, Dave. Let me put your comment up here because that's for sure. The security team is stupid. I mean, how you allow, he looks, the haircut and the facial hair resembles Clay, but you can tell that's not Klay Thompson. I mean, how you just let somebody waltz on through is ridiculous. But that should close the book on the NBA Finals. He said it was worth it because for 10 minutes he was an NBA player. Yeah, well, for 50 years now, you're not even an NBA fan in your team's home arena. So I don't know. If it like I said, if it jumps his YouTube channel to the point where it becomes profitable, then I'd say it's probably worth it for him. If not, I think he's probably going to end up regretting that decision. But hey, he made it. I give him credit for having the balls to go out and do it. That could have easily backfired horribly and become a violent situation with security, and it didn't. So, I mean, he made it. Good for him. And shame on that security. If I was if I owned that arena or the Warriors owner or whatever, I'd be livid right now. Like, how can you just let some fool come walk in here with my players? I mean, look how much money is spent on these. No, I'm not going to go down that road. Anyways, that'll be enough for the NBA Finals. Like I said, I expect Golden State to win either tomorrow night or at the worst, Game 7. So I expect Clay to come back to form tomorrow night. I do not think he's going to come out and lay another egg like that. And as long as Clay, he kind of stays where he was the other night, Wiggins doesn't have to score 26 and grab 13 rebounds again. If he does, and Clay does his thing, and Steph comes back, then they're going to smoke Boston in Game 6. So that's my stance on it. Tatum is going to have to show up big, and Jaylen Brown is going to have to show up big too. Yeah. So we're going to move on. Very, very briefly before I talk a little bit of baseball, and then we'll move on to Father's Day. I wanted to just update everyone on what I'm now calling the DESHAUN. Well, hold on just a second here. Fito, who does Grady follow in the NBA? These kids nowadays, they're a lot more into players than they are teams. So, he'll root for the Knicks, but he likes Luka Doncic a lot. That's kind of how kids are nowadays. It's odd. When we were younger, Fito, it was this is your team. Now these guys, the social media stuff. I mean, you can see anybody, anytime, any place, anywhere. So he likes a lot of different players. He likes the league overall. He just likes the sport. I don't really think he's like full on invested in any one team. I think he just likes the sport. So, and that's it. I'm more of a baseball football guy. He wants to like basketball. No problem. We're in it. I'm trying to get him more into the NCAA. And I'm having trouble there, but we'll see. So, no, Dave, tennis is not up next. Fucking smart ass. The DESHAUN Watson Douche-O-METER has now reached 26, everybody. That's what we're going to call that from now on, at least on this show anyways. The DESHAUN Watson Douche-O-METER. And the rest of the Green Legion family is welcome to run with that as well. It's up to 26 now. Look, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. We've beat this to death over the last few weeks. 26 people. I think we all thought initially maybe he'd get like 8 games. Then it became like, okay, he's probably going to get a year. Well, hey guys, look, Calvin Ridley got a year just for gambling. This jackass has 26 women saying all kinds of. We went over it last week. It's more of the same with the latest 2 that have filed civil suits. And again, I'm going to reiterate, this is not a class action. Each and every single individual case is going to have to be resolved on its own. So this is far from over, and it's going to keep being in our face. And I expect there to be more. Once again, I'll ring that bell. Who is going to come through, break the story with him doing this stuff in South Carolina when he was at Clemson? It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. So I don't know if any of you want to chime in on Deshaun Watson, but I'm not going to spend a whole hell of a lot of time. I'd rather move over to baseball real quick and then start talking Father's Day stuff. Keenan, absolutely, he is a freaky fucker. If any of you have had the chance to read some of the articles about Deshaun, and just some of the antics in the room while he was with these girls, like he's like on his hands and knees begging like a dog or an animal. It's just a weird guy, man. I don't know. That squeaky clean image he had coming out of Clemson is all for shit. So somewhere along the way, Dabo Sweeney's got his hands dirty somewhere. Lou Mancini, there he is. He just got in. Fuck Watson. All right, there we go. Fito. Oh, here we go. Now we're warming up. I'm calling it now. Lunch lady at Clemson. What do you do? Take her hairnet, put it on his junk? Oh, God, you guys are the best, I swear. All right, we're going to jump over to baseball real quick. For you Philadelphia fans, we're going to touch on you guys first. You've got to be ecstatic, right? Fire Girardi, and your team is red hot since then. I will stand by what I said. No, I don't think Girardi was part of the solution at all, but I do not think he was the entire problem. That being said, kind of hard to argue with what the team's been doing since Girardi got the boot. So, where were we a couple of weeks ago? All hovering around the league average with your offensive stats, which is where the team made the big investments. Well, that's all changed. You're now 5th in the National League in batting average. And this is not since Girardi's firing. This is overall now, okay? You've raised your team batting average 8 points. You're now 5th in the National League there. This is entering play today, before today's game. 7th in on-base percentage at .320, which is 10 points higher than where it was just a few weeks ago. You're now 2nd in the National League in slugging at .426. That's 25 points higher than where you were and 31 points above the league average. And you're now 3rd in OPS, which is on-base plus slugging, at .745, which is 34 points higher than where you were and 35 points above the league average. So it's a massive, massive turnaround. The pitching staff's been kind of up and down. And Chris will tell you that I think he wanted to tie and quarter half of the bullpen. And Knebel recently. Well, not recently. I don't think Chris has ever been a really big fan of Knebel. So, but I mean, you've got to be thrilled to pieces. Bryce Harper's been better. The whole lineup has been better. The team looks better overall. Sometimes it takes somebody getting their head chopped to light a fire. And that, unfortunately for Girardi, that he was that guy. Girardi has an ego just as big as anyone in that clubhouse. So I'm sure that weighed heavily. And something I mentioned last week, your general manager, Dombrowski, he is not the guy who hired Girardi. So it makes it easier to let go of a guy when you're not attached, right? You didn't make that decision. Someone else before you did. Now we got an interim manager. We'll see if he ends up being your guy long term. I think Dombrowski will probably try to, lure someone else in. But your bullpen's a problem, in particular on the back end. And Dombrowski as a GM historically does not value that portion of the roster. So I don't know how much that's going to get fixed unless he turns over a new leaf. I can tell you as a Yankee fan, if you want Aroldis Chapman, we can talk. I have no love lost for him. He's not been back, and he was bad before he went out. I'm sick of Chapman. So we're going to segue over to the Yankees, but hang on. There we go. Keenan, with the baseball. I'm trying. Been to 4 games this year. Still haven't sat in our seats and watched the game yet. Hanging Ashburn Alley, eating and watching the fans react to the game. Keenan, if you're trying to become a baseball fan, you've got to watch the game. All right. Nobody says that you got to watch every game all the time. But if you're trying to, get into the sport and learn about, or at least learn about the team that you're going to root for, you've got to watch and you've got to pay attention. And the best way to, the best way to do it is to obviously be there with someone who is already invested, like a Chris Sack. If I lived there, and I'm not a Phillies fan, but I would be more than happy to go with you. And when things happen on the field, well, this is why they did this. This is why they did that. That's how you learn the game. And then from there, you watch as much as you want to watch. I understand it's not your thing. You're kind of stepping out of that comfort zone a little bit. But give it a chance, man. And guys like Chris, me, we're willing to help you along the way. Dave, here we go. Spot on, brother. Dombrowski's a terrible GM. Sells the whole future for one shot in 1 to 2 years. 1 to 2 years tops. Then the franchise he ran suck. Exactly. Did it to the Tigers. He leaves a wake. He leaves a bad bullpen, a depleted minor league system. But he does put you in position to get a crack at that championship. So for the Philly faithful, you guys are going to have to hope that this is the squad. I think you should definitely be hoping that he adds just a little bit more value to the bullpen than has normally been his MO. But only time will tell. Either way, like I said, you guys have got to be thrilled, right? The team has done a 180. The only problem you got is, Dave, I agree, his teams don't usually win it all. It just puts you in a window where you can. That's it. Lost my train of thought. Where are we back over here? Take that. Man, go back to your seat once in a while. Nice, Lou. Yeah. So, the Philly fans, you've got to be happy overall. The only problem you do have is the Mets have the second best record in baseball, and the Braves are scorching hot right now. So, as well as you've been playing, you've only been able to gain. The Phillies, you've only been able to gain minimal ground. You need the Mets to come back down to earth, fall flat, but I don't know if that's going to happen, guys. I think the Phillies at this point, you're looking at the wild card, and that should be the focus. If you can get up to the Mets, congratulations. But you dug yourself quite a hole to start the year, so it's going to take a lot to dig out of that. I mentioned my disdain for Aroldis Chapman. That's not going to change. I think the Yankees should have unloaded him 2 years ago. Just my opinion. But for my beloved Yankees, we are 45-16 coming into play today. It's a 738 win percentage. It's just off to a huge start. Now, starting yesterday began a 13-game stretch that is absolutely brutal. We're going to play, I think it's 6 against Tampa, 3 against Toronto, and 4 against Houston. That is rough. That's a gauntlet to go through. Fuck you, Dave. Chapman is the best reliever for whoever is playing the Yankees. It's true, man. I mean, he's not been good. He's scared of his fastball. He doesn't have any confidence in it anymore. And if he can't throw the fastball with any kind of confidence, then he's worthless. I'd rather go closer by committee. But whatever. I'm not going to get down that road. Great. We're 60 something. We're 61 games in. Is that what it is? 61 games in coming in today, the Yankees, and 5 games better than everyone else in baseball. 5 games better than the Mets. However, there are articles and tweets and Facebook posts and all of this shit. The Yankees are on pace for 119 victories. The Yankees are on the 2022 Yankees are on pace to be better than the 1998 Yankees. They're better than the 1920-70. Knock it off. All right, here's your rant for the week. Knock all that shit off. I don't want to hear anything about 119 victories, better than 98, better than 27, better than 61, better than 41. Get the fuck out of here with all that stuff. Folks, it is the middle of June. It is the middle of June. People can get hurt. People can just go into a funk. It is far too early to talk about winning 119 regular. Look, if it happens, you're looking at the happiest guy on the freaking planet if it does, okay? But even if it does, it means nothing if you don't put the cherry on top and take home the trophy in October. And there is absolutely no guarantee any of that is going to happen. As Yankee fans, we found out plenty of times over the last 20 years. I mean, we won in 2009, but since 2000, that's the only championship. But we've always, we're right there. I still believe Hal Steinbrenner is committed to the allure of winning more than he is actually winning. That's why, Dave, thank you for the segue. That's why guys like Joey Gallo are on this roster. I can't stand Joey Gallo. Any professional hitter who comes out, anybody paid to be a professional hitter, let's do that. I'm not going to call him a professional hitter. I'll say he's being paid to be one. Who is going to come out and complain about the way that defense is set up against him is worthless to me. Right now, I understand he's been better lately. He's still not big. I mean, he had nowhere to go but up. A week ago, he was batting 186 with 6 homers and 10 RBIs. I didn't even look at his numbers today. Right, he might have doubled that production in the last week, but who gives a shit? He's still not good. He brought in, he's got a great on-base percentage. Yeah, but you know what? He bats 190. No, thank you. Okay? So I don't want to hear about 119 wins. I don't want to hear about, comparisons to Murderer's Row. I don't want to hear comparisons to Mantle and Maris. I don't want to hear comparisons to that 1998 team that ran over everybody. I don't want to hear any of it in the middle of fucking June. Okay? That's enough. All right. Let me get over to the room here for a minute because you guys started popping off here. Lou, if Thompson wants this job, he should channel his inner Frankenstein. Oh God. Lou, look, you're gonna have trouble with the bullpen, man. I mean, there you go. Ask Seattle. Exactly. And who knocked Seattle out of the playoffs that year? We did. With far fewer regular season victories. So I don't want to hear it. I like cherries. Great. Fito, all gas, no brakes till the fat lady sings, go Yanks. Yeah, I'm with you, brother. But stop all this talk in the middle of June. It's too much. Dave, Gallo said hitting the ball the other way is so much harder than people think. He said it's not like the old. He also said nobody else would try it. I'm sorry, but I'm seeing a little bit more frequently. Guys are starting to lay down bunts. the opposite way. Why the hell wouldn't you? All right, I'm going to get off the soapbox with it. That's where I'm at. I don't want to hear any more about the 119 wins, breaking records and crap. It's June, folks. Okay, you know, if we get to September 1st, okay, and the Yankees said I haven't looked that far into the schedule. Let's just say the Yankees are going to play 20 games in September. It's probably more than that, but let me just throw that out there. And we're 15 away from breaking a record for regular season wins. Then we can talk. Until then, zip it. No more. Shut the fuck up. I'm done with it. All right, now. Oh. I promise you guys a rant at least once a week, right? With how bad my A's are, I may become a Yankees fan soon. No, you won't, Dave. Stop lying, everybody. That's a crock. Dave over there on Facebook. Dave, just so you know, the interaction is a little bit better on YouTube. And what I will say is at some point I am going to figure, and I've been talking about this for a couple weeks, I am going to figure out how to get some music so that I can take a break every few minutes. Once I do that, Facebook will boot the broadcast because they think we don't have the rights to play the music, and it is what it is. And then we'll strictly be a Twitter and a YouTube thing. So by all means, be wherever you're comfortable, brother. But I would encourage YouTube. Lou Mancini, great, good stuff. Rant was gold, Pony Boy. Thanks, brother. I had it on my chest. It was pissing me off. In case you couldn't tell. But good segue. One thing that doesn't piss me off is when we get to the middle of June like this is Father's Day. I've talked here. You guys all know I am a father of 3. My oldest is 15. My middle will be 12 at the beginning of August. And my youngest is just turned 9. I try to do things with them. And not just Father's Day, right? It's, to me, every day is Father's Day, right? Whether they pissed you off, they've done something stupid, or they come home with straight A's, or whatever the case may be. They, every day is Father's Day because, that's the commitment when you become a parent, right? It's Father's Day. You're a father every day. So, I try to do things to make stuff fun for them. Not that my childhood was entirely awful by any means, but there were definitely long stretches where it was confusing and, less than awesome. Okay. And I try to avoid that for them. And, some of the way we do that is, I bought the projector screen and the projector, and we're going to have movie nights during the summer and light the fire and do the s'mores. We had our first one a couple of weeks ago, and we watched The Sandlot Memorial Day weekend, kind of unofficial start to summer, right? I think we're hoping that July 1st isn't bad weather, because that's a Friday. And that's when the next part of Stranger Things gets released. And we wanted to do, we're hoping to do the fire pit and the projector for that on that weekend, which would be great. But, the pool, come home, get them in there, get them in the pool and, throw them around a little bit, splash around with them. My boys, take them on baseball trips. So my oldest has been to, I think it's 13 different ballparks. My middle, and those are the boys. My oldest and my middle are the boys. Has been to, he's not been to this. I think he's been to 10 now. I'll have to go back through it. But it's just, and that's our time to be buddies, right? We get out on the road, we're burping, farting, stopping at steakhouse, being gross. And going to ball games, having dogs, just having fun being boys, taking pictures, posting them all over social media. We the biggest one we took was in 2019. We were living down in Tennessee at the time, and the way I set up the baseball. Well, let me get over here for just a second, Dave. I'm too old for YouTube, especially too old for. No, you're not. Please, Vito. Does Michelle cook a big dinner for you like you do for her and her mom on Mother's Day? No, and I don't ask her to. If she wants to make something for me, that's fine. I all I want to do is just be home with the family. I'm not particular. Lou, guys, do the YouTube app. That's where I found success. That's where I found success in following this in its entirety. Message me if you need help, because many names I've heard haven't popped up on my feed. Thank you for the help there, Lou. But the baseball trip. So the way I set them up is, the baseball schedule comes out, late December around Christmas time, and it's kind of like an extra Christmas present for us because we get to take a look at where we might be able to go. So when we looked at it that year, it was possible for us to hit Kansas City, Minneapolis, and then coming back down from there, I decided to stop back in St. Louis. So I kind of set it up as a Kansas City, Minneapolis thing, and then so these are the two stadiums we're going to hit. And what I'll do is I'll always incorporate, the local food, whatever, if there's something that city is big for, like when we come to Philly, obviously we're having cheesesteaks, right? When we went to Chicago, it was deep dish. When we went to Kansas City, it was barbecue. Minneapolis, I didn't really know what the hell they were there for. So we found a spot that was on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. It was called the Nook, and they make this thing called a Juicy Lucy burger. And you guys can go ahead and have fun with the jokes on that name. But it's a burger patty where they stuff it with cheese, and it was awesome. So we went there. But what I also do is I add like a local monument or museum or whatever. So, and then I'll add extra things that the boys can kind of unlock. Excuse me, Jesus. The boys can kind of unlock depending on their grades. Now, the grades overall, C or higher, or forget it. And really, I should go B or higher, but try not to be too harsh. So that year, my middle wanted to go to the Arch in the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, along with the baseball stuff, because his older brother had been there. I said, all right, well, straight A's, fourth marking pair, and you got it. Bam, he delivered. So we left Smyrna, Tennessee, right after my middle lost his baseball playoff game, and we headed up towards St. Louis. The next stopped overnight, went to the Arch the next day, got in the car, drove to Kansas City. Stopped, had dinner and stuff, farted around in the hotel room, got up the next day, went to the Negro League Museum in Kansas City. That place is fantastic. If you ever get to Kansas City, go there. I could have spent days and days in that place. I wish we would have had more time. So we were there, did that. Then we went to a Royals game at the K. Took all kinds of pictures and stuff. One of these weeks, I'm going to change the picture for my show to my favorite picture from that stop on the trip. It's my boys. It was Hawaiian shirt giveaway day, and they had their Whiskey Hill jerseys on underneath of it. And I got them, the Kansas State cheerleaders were there. So I had the boys stand with them and open up their shirt to show the Whiskey Hill while standing with the K-State cheerleaders. It's pretty cool. Game at the K. We had some barbecue. Back to the hotel, sleep, get up the next day, drive up to Minneapolis. Now, we stayed at a hotel directly across the street from the Mall of America. So the first full day we were there, we spent 11 hours at the Mall of America with the Nickelodeon Amusement Center and the aquarium inside. And I mean, it was awesome. Hard Rock Cafe, a lot of stuff about Prince there because he was from up there. The next day, we go to the Twins game. We putzed around Minneapolis, went to the Nook for the Juicy Lucy burger. We actually stopped and threw on Eagles jerseys right outside of US Bank Stadium. That's where the Birds won the Super Bowl. So we stood out there and we're like, and took a picture. I sent it to I think I sent it directly to Quimby. He used it as part of the advertisement for the Green Legion trip to Minneapolis later that year, which was pretty cool. So yeah, and then we went to the Twins game. Then we left the Twins. We got back to the hotel, slept, got up, went back over to the Mall America for a little while that morning, and then drove down to Dyersville, Iowa, which if anyone doesn't know where that is, it's in the middle of nowhere in Iowa, but that is the site of the Field of Dreams movie site. And that was a huge bucket list thing for me. I could watch that movie 1,000 times, and every single time at the end where Costner says, "Hey, Dad, you want to have a catch?" I will start to get choked up. Call me a dork. Do whatever you want. Don't care. That's who I am. So then getting the chance to step out onto that field and play, and it's open to the public. Anybody can walk out there. So actually getting out to go out there and play catch with my kids on that field was just incredible. Bunch of guys showed up with a bucket of softballs, and we all got to take some batting practice. I cranked one off the bottom of the light pole in left center. Just so you know, the movie makes that field look way deeper than it actually is. I probably top out at about 300, and that's swinging with everything I've got at this point in my life. And I can tell you that light pole is not 300 feet away. So, but it was cool. Hopped back in the car, drove back down to St. Louis, and went to a Cardinals game. And then spot standing room only. And we walked around the entire ballpark, took pictures all over the place. And then we got back into the car and, headed to a hotel. Next day, drove home. So over 6.5 days, we drove 2,100 miles. We hit 3 different ballparks. Myself and my oldest had already been to Busch Stadium in St. Louis. But 3 different ballparks. The Negro League Museum, the Gateway Arch, and the Field of Dreams. Along with countless other funny jokes and memories and stuff along the way. So Father's Day is great, and I'm going to enjoy this weekend. But when you're a parent, like I said, every day is Father's Day or it's Mother's Day. Now, I want you to hold on for just a second. I'm going to mute this real quick, and I want to just So I wanted to introduce you guys to what keeps me going every day, and why I stay driven to go to work every morning, and why I'm hoping this podcast turns into a lot more cool stuff. And I'm very thankful to Quimby, the Green Legion, and for all of their support. We are looking for sponsors. Quimby told me that about a week and a half ago, so I'm hoping to have some more news on that coming soon. But this is my baby girl. This is Brooklyn. Liam, knock it off back there. She's 9. She has no desire to be on any of the baseball trips. She's just not a big sports fan, but she likes that Daddy gets into it. She likes to laugh at Daddy when Daddy starts screaming at televisions in my war room downstairs. So my sunshine. Over here is my middle. This is Liam. He is, how old are you now? He's 11. He'll be 12 in August. He joined the baseball trip party in 2015. That's when he first took the trip with us. We went to Wrigley that year. I saved Wrigley until he could join along because that was going to be a special one. So this is Liam, and back here we have my oldest. Here's Grady. He just turned 15, And yes, he's every bit what you would expect from a teenage boy, including some knucklehead friends who have really annoyed the piss out of me over the last couple of weeks. So Grady and I did our first baseball trip when he was barely a year old. I took him to Cleveland, where my in-laws are from, and we saw the Indians play the Yankees. Since then, he has been, so it's Cleveland. He's been to since the Reds here, the Tigers twice now. We went to the White Sox and the Brewers in one trip in 2014. That was a special one for him, because that was gonna be the last one before his brother joined the party. And then 2015, Liam starts coming along, and we go to the north side for the Cubs, and then 16 we went to Pittsburgh, 17 we went to Atlanta, 18 we went down to Tampa, 19 we did. Oh, Grady and I went in 2013 to St. Louis. That was the first time we went to St. Louis. 19 we went to St. Louis, Kansas City, and Minneapolis. 2020 we did nothing because of COVID. Last year, we got up to Cleveland to try to start getting him caught up. So I mentioned in my Facebook post when I advertised the show tonight that that there might be a few special guests. Y'all, these are the special guests. I'd get my wife up here, but she doesn't like to be on camera. So Grady, Liam, Brooklyn, you guys got anything you want to say to the room?
Not really.
Not really. What did you say? Home. Yeah, well, maybe they don't really have a future in radio, but we'll see. Grady back there. He's shown some interest. He likes the sports and he likes to talk about them. So he's shown an interest. I just told him he's got to get better grades. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I hope any of you, whether you're a father yourself, a grandfather, or you're going to celebrate with your father, your grandfather, or whatever. I hope you all enjoy the upcoming weekend. I know we're going to. Next week, we're going to talk about the cook-off that my wife and I are going to have that our kids put us up to. So these knuckleheads might join us again at the end of next week's show, too. All right? So I keep doing the wrong hand. For Grady, Liam, Brooklyn, my wife Michelle downstairs, I am Unhappy Gilmore. I hope you enjoyed the show this week, everybody, and I will talk to you soon. You guys have a great week, and you enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care, everybody. Guys, again, I appreciate you very much. Thank you all for being here. Keenan, Lou, Fito, Dave, Bryant, Lewis. Am I missing anybody here? I hope not. Anyways, you guys have a great evening. Talk to you soon.